Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to take a look at how the physical Super Saiyan 4 Limit Breaker Vegeta does in the Cell Max event. Now, a full disclaimer, as always, the Cell Max event or the Super Cell Max event is an incredibly high difficult event in Dbz Dokkan battle that requires you to have units that either have a super high level of damage reduction or have a very high level of evasion. Units traditionally also need guard as well to be super effective here. Units will need upwards of 400 to 500k defense just to deal with his normal attacks. So he's a very tough cookie and he's a very tough unit to take on. Now, Vegeta is one of the two Dragon Ball Heroes leads that were released during the Dragon Ball Heroes celebration, and I think on initial reception people didn't really like him too much, but personally I think he's actually done a really good job, and I think he's very good. My Vegeta in this video will be at 55%, which means we do not have any dupes or duplicate copies of him in the hidden potential system. So Vegeta is a crossover or giant A power category lead of 170%, plus an additional HP attack and defense 30% for characters who also belong to the Dragon Ball Heroes category. He raises attack and defense for one turn and causes immense damage to the enemy. He has Ki +3 and attack and defense of 180%, plus an additional attack and defense of 60% when performing a super attack. He has an additional defense of 80% and launches an additional super attack when all allies attacking in the same turn are superclass, giant A power or Dragon Ball Heroes category characters. He gives superclass allies attack of 40% when there's an ally whose name includes Goku attacking in the same turn, and an additional attack and defense of 40% plus attacks are guaranteed to hit, and he disables the enemy's guard starting from the turn in which the character performs the 5th super attack in battle. So it's very important, A, to have Vegeta achieve his 5th super attack in battle, but it's also super important as well that Vegeta obviously has the correct build-up and the correct levels and placement. So he's not a first slot unit, he gains quite a significant amount of defense on the super attack. I think that's obvious. He also raises his attack and defense for one turn, so after supering will also be very good. He also has a guaranteed additional super attack, which means that he not only has the ability to raise his defense further, but he also has the ability to be built fully into crit. Defensively, you might be orientated to build him into additional, but for me personally, I think building him into crit is definitely the best way to go. Overall, I just think it's how you get the best results out of him. In terms of everything else, disabling enemy guard is somewhat helpful as it allows him to do type neutral damage against units that have guard against him, and also allows all units in the rotation to do type neutral damage, but it is a little bit of a strange one. And attacks guaranteed to hit, while nice in events where units can evade, is not necessarily the most helpful outside of that bespoke content. So yeah, although it is a useful ability to have when you are facing an enemy that has high evasion, it's also not super common that events have such high evasion that you feel slighted. Events like the LGEGT or the Legendary Goku event, they do tend to have pretty high evasion. It will be helpful in certain Ultimate Clash fights as well. But generally speaking, I don't find it to be something you're going to get super often. I don't even think there's a red zone whereby evasion's the predominant mechanic for a unit. I think maybe Janemba, where it will be something that's highlightable and being very good. Now the nice thing is the pacing of the Cell Max event generally does allow Vegeta to get his 5th super attack, at least in the turn whenever he's facing Tech Cell Max. Honestly, for the most part, he tends to usually get it within that turn, or the turn before. So generally speaking, the pacing is good enough that he tends to be quite comfortable in getting all those additional levels of kind of attack and defense from his passive. So that's good. I think overall his total boost when all of those things do apply is pretty high. It's 460% or so, which is really good. And then obviously when he's got everyone in the same turn, when he's got the Goku, when he's got the SS4 Goku, it starts to really ramp up. Now I think Vegeta is great as a second slot unit. The kind of big hindrance is that, okay, Goku is not necessarily the first slot unit people kind of wanted him to be, which I think is maybe the big shame. But Vegeta himself, I think, is a very, very acceptable second slot unit. I think Vegeta does great. At 55% here, you're going to see Vegeta tank really well, which is good. Personally speaking, I actually really think Vegeta does well. And I think overall he does a really good job as a unit here. I think he does really solid. And considering it's just raw defense, I think it's really impressive actually. Now obviously link leveling him does help. So link leveling these units does help them a lot. They do have a very strong link level set. Super Saiyan Prodigies Prepared for Battle gives them defense. Saiyan Raw gives them defense. Royal Lineage is a solid link for a Vegeta orientated team. So you do get some decent defense from their link set. So there is some value in link leveling them. It will improve him slightly, more offensively than not, but definitely will give him some defensive security as well. So yeah, that's a pretty good reason to obviously invest in link leveling. Vegeta in link leveling, obviously these units, I think overall is a pretty good job. Generally speaking, Vegeta is not going to be good in the first slot, so I wouldn't put him there. As a floater, pretty good. As a second slot unit, really good. But yeah, I wouldn't put him in the first slot, to be honest with you. I think it's just not really necessarily worth how much damage he's going to take. So here we have two Gokus on the rotation, which is nice. He's obviously got quite a bit of defensive support then from the Gokus, which I think is important to remember. A very good situation for him because he can sit in that third slot. He doesn't have to worry too much. This first Goku is going to tank fairly well. So Vegeta's got everything he pretty much needs to, do well here. I think overall, he does a really good job. Firstly, 4.7 million attack stat, very nice. Second attack, 5 million, also very good. He's now obviously got the highest level of defense he's probably going to have at 55% here. And 65k on a normal is more than fine. Obviously, a super is always going to decimate Vegeta, even at Rainbow level. But overall, I think he did really well. And I personally think Vegeta did really well. But let me know your thoughts down below, and I'd love to hear what you guys think. But I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye.